Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. Okay, stop the music. Yeah, I haven't done that for a while. Okay, what I was saying, I got a lot to go do today. I got the coffee ready. Got tons of stuff ready to read, and now you can hear me too. Hey everybody, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, aka PDawg Night, as I'm known on the internet, and today is the 23rd of July. It's July. And it's Thursday, which is FTG Thursday. Hopefully we'll get a few FTGs down today. But, because there's a whole lot of people to FTG. Now, I was going to try to avoid any news about, the Portland riots or Seattle or all these places where this crap's going on, and maybe talk about some things that you haven't really been hearing about lately because the news is dominated by Portland, right? But there's a couple things that are just kind of happen. You kind of got to go with the flow. You got to go with what's out there, the stuff that just hits you right in the face, right? So we'll be kind of doing that. Am I kind of see-through here? Wow, I'm kind of opaque there, aren't I? What the hell happened there? Let me see if I can fix that. Holy crap, what the hell's going on? Let's see. I don't even know. Is that something I can even fix right now? Let's try this. Let me do something real quick here. I didn't know you could see. Oh, it must be this shirt. I don't know. I'm not wearing green though. You kind of see through my face too. That's really weird. Well, let's see if we can fix that. But in the meantime, there's a whole lot going on in the world, and so we'll figure that out though. Hang on a second. Sorry, guys. Geez, this is so weird. This wasn't happening yesterday. Okay, there's that. I got a good color thing there. Let's do this real quick. Let's try to configure the video, and let's go to defaults. Well, that's not it. Well, you know what? I'm gonna look like a ghost today. That's all there is to it. I'll figure this out on my own time because it's not something I can fix right off. Anyway, so first, let's say good morning to everybody because the chat's filling up quick, and I really appreciate that. First in the chat today was Mr. Chadwick Dupree, who gets the bell. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning, Aloysius Fudpucker. I laugh every time I read that. Good morning, Duck Dog, Gunfox61, who's back. You're back from where? You were, it says you're back in northern New Jersey, New York City. Okay. Also, good morning, Cynical Lindsay. Lori Light has caved. Ha ha ha. Yes. We'll talk about that in a moment. I don't know if cave's a word. I kind of misunderstood what the president was talking about yesterday, so we'll talk about that, though. Thanks for reminding that, Lindsay. That's on my list. Good morning, Tyler F. Good morning, Renee Mayette. Mike Savage, Blarg. Select a boy who's in the house. Zero the hero. What's happening? Donatello Slapafellow. Keeverdan. D.I. Freighter Watcher. Let's see. Richard Cranium. Morning on and listening. Okay, good. Oh, you're listening. Gonna be trying to look busy. Oh, that's right. You're at work. You always do that. That's funny. Also, Fox and Barrett Show. Good morning. Hey, Larry. I'm scrolling. Cynical. I got the Cynical Lindsay already. Looks like, John Smith, Mr. Scott, and I think I got just about everybody so far that's already here. And Rolling Bear, yes. And MC's in the house. All right, let's go now. It's funny. If you look at my little avatar thing that pops up and down on your screen, it's kind of right. No, it's down there. It's over. Down there, see that down there, that little thing in the corner? I'm kind of matching that. I'm kind of see-through, just like the little avatar. So maybe that's a good depiction of me. I don't know. All right, so let's get into this real quick. Oh, by the way, Programming note. I'm changing one aspect of my program here. I'm going to change one aspect. And what that is I know a lot of people some people aren't a fan of the Twitter trend, right? Is the sound pad muted? Could you not hear it? Did you not hear the hammer time thing? Let me see here. Alert box. Is the alert box muted? No, it's not. You should have. All right, tell me if you can hear this. I'm going to do a wow. All right, if you just heard the wow, put a 1 in the chat. That's weird. No sound pad. Sound pad is not muted. Well, let's do this. Let's do it as a desktop then. Let's try it now. There's the bell for, I'm sure you heard that. That was for Chadwick Dupree. And let's do this. There's the wow. If you hear the wow, let me know. And Hammer Time, you're here, MC.
Hammer Time.
I know y'all hear it now, right? Okay. All right. It looks like it's working. All right. You know, usually that works through in my mixer, I have a separate mute for the sound pad. And it says it's on full volume. Oh well, I'll do the desktop sound, whatever. All right, we're good. All right, so about the programming note. So I've decided that rather than do the Twitter trends, because a lot of times I run out of time to do Twitter trends. So and plus some of the Twitter trends have nothing to do with what I want to talk about. You know, I get a lot of stuff that's, you know, just people are trending for shit that I don't give a shit about. So rather than do Twitter trends, at the end of each show, we'll look up breaking news. And I'll still use Twitter for that, but Twitter has a separate news tab that we'll have some of the breaking stuff, and I'll go through the Twitter trends just to find breaking news, and we'll see what we can find out is going to be happening later in the day, or what's happening now, or anything that's going on that we know that people are going to be talking about. That's really the reason I originally started doing Twitter trends, and so instead we're going to make it so that we use that for breaking news. What did I talk over? You heard it though. You heard it. It's just there you go. Well. Now, Cynical Lindsay, I'm still using Twitter for the daily breaking news, but that's the part that I want to use it for more than just because if there's a Twitter trending some K-pop thing, unless the K-pop jackasses are trying to take over a hashtag that's pro-Trump or whatever, then then we'll do that. But so I'm not completely ditching Twitter, but I'm just going to use it more for breaking news because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for news. And if there's something silly, every once in a while we'll throw in something silly. But, I'm going to take it out of the Twitter trend realm. All right. Good morning, Duck Dog. Oh, you were already here. Good morning, Sapphire Dragon. How you doing? Okay, so let's get into it. It is FTG Thursday. And there'll be a few in here just by default. For example, the first story we're going to check out today is absolutely one of our default FTGs. Yes, Mayor Ted Wheeler in Portland. And before I even show you the article I was going to show you, I bookmarked some stuff about Ted Wheeler. Let's get into my bookmarks here. This is interesting. So Ted Wheeler decided to go out and walk amongst the people. Yes, he decided to be the mayor of the people and go out and check out the protesters that are in his town. And, let's just say it really didn't go that well. If you know what oh shoot, what happened there? What happened to my bookmarks? Okay, hang on. It didn't go well. Okay. And here's a thread on Twitter, which I say I'm using Twitter. Okay. Here's a thread on Twitter to show you Ted Wheeler's experience among the peoples, right? FTG merch. Okay, I'll add some FTG merch. By the way, you can check my merch store. I do have the 2020 FFS cup, hat, shirt, and shirt. If you go on my PDawg Live, hit the merch tab. I also got a Teespring link, but I'm not putting it in yet until I get. I got several items that I'm creating for that side. But anyway, Ted Wheeler decided to be among the people in Portland, and it didn't go well. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler is entering the protest crowd. This is from yesterday when he was entering the protest crowd. Here's a little video of that. Okay, so they're yelling at him. What are you going to do about qualified immunity? They're peppering him with questions. This is just people in the crowd, right? And they're peppering him with questions. Why is this? Oh, don't tell me I have this problem today. Oh, good Lord. You just can't hear it. Oh, the sound. There we go. All right, let's go back to the beginning of this. Okay, it'll take a second. What are you going to do about qualified immunity?
Because police are civil servants. They serve us. So why do they get qualified immunity?
They serve us, so why do they get qualified immunity? Oh, and there's someone throwing some garbage right in front of the mayor. Yes, the peaceful protest, the mayor gets an example. Here, you know what, I'm going to close this so it's easy. Maybe it'll be better if I just do it this way. And because I'm having a little bit of internet trouble here. So, right off the bat, as Ted Wheeler's entering, as he's entering the, oh, now everything's frozen. Okay. Just as Ted Wheeler is entering the area with the people, they're throwing garbage in front of him. Okay, they're not happy with Ted Wheeler.
Don't touch him. He came out here.
And now they got some people saying don't touch him. They have some people trying to protect him. Okay, so that didn't go well. And then a little bit later, they're surrounding him and cussing at him. If you can't understand what they're saying, well, I think you can understand what they're saying, can't you? Can you tell what they're saying? All right. And then send the bitch home. Yes, these are the people that he's been really trying hard to support. And then as he continues, apparently he wanted to speak, but apparently some of the people were in disagreement on whether or not Ted Wheeler should be allowed to speak. Hang on. Oh, he doesn't deserve to speak. He's a fucking fascist. There you go. All right, and then farther down, check this out. Oops. And oh, by the way, hang on. Before I play this one, this particular video has something called foreshadowing. That is the word of the day. Can you say foreshadowing? Here's this one. He's trying to talk. Good morning, Black people.
That's right.
Hey, were you in that crowd? I just heard that. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Tear gas Ted has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Tear gas Ted has got to go. Now, I said that was foreshadowing. Now, in a listening session in the middle of the crowd, Wheeler says he's doing everything possible to get federal officers out of Portland. Interesting. Interesting, because the federal officers are protecting the two federal buildings, and you would think the reason that they might leave would be if those buildings were being protected, right? Like if, for example, if the Portland police would protect those buildings. But I don't know if that's actually happening. Let's check out the next video. Here.
But it's making a lot of people very angry. What can you say that you're going to do to protect us against them?
Protect us against them? Hold on. What? So the girl's asking him, she's asking him about the federal officers. What can you do to protect us against them? You know, if I were Mayor Ted Wheeler, I would answer this way. How about you all stay the fuck home and stop this bullshit? You don't even know what you're protesting anymore. Oh, but that would be me. Let's hear if he got to answer in there. Just a second.
I'm doing everything in my power to get them to leave. And what that means specifically is I have been raising the alarm nationally. I've been national TV shows talking to people about what is happening in the city and that they cannot be passive and sit back and watch it in Portland because it will come to a city near them next. The next thing we're doing is using the
Okay, if you can't hear what he's saying that he's doing everything he can to get them to leave. He's raising the alarm nationally, blah, 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 blah. But you know what's funny is that he really doesn't have a leg to stand on because they are allowed to have federal agents in protecting federal property. So let's see. Anyway, let's see what else he says here.
Tools of the law. Use police! Attorney General, our city attorneys, they're looking at every legal action.
They're looking for legal options.
But it's making a lot of people very angry.
Okay, so that's that. And then the people of the crowd react to Mayor Ted Wheeler saying he won't commit to abolishing the police. The idea that you would abolish the police anyway is just silly. But anyway.
Yes! Yes or no?
No, I do not.
No, I do not support abolishing the police. And neither, look, this mob, I'll just call it a mob, even though some of them are protesting and some of them are actually there to protest who don't know what they're protesting, first of all. Protesting to abolish the police, right? I would guess that a vast majority of Portlanders do not want the police abolished. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, you got a loud bunch of yahoos out here every night, 55 days in a row, 56 days in a row. Whoa, message deleted by the Google moderator team. What the hell is that? Lindsay, DM me what you wrote. I'm curious what your message was. And the fact that it happened on my stream, little old me. Will you DM me that? I want to see what that was. So anyway, he said no, and they're not happy with him. Get the fuck out. Goodness gracious.
Why are you going to get Kate Brown in whatever decision she want to make? You tell us no and do what you want to do in the office.
So anyway, he said something about why aren't you? Why wouldn't you do what Kate Brown says or whatever? I have no idea what that means. Yeah, please send me that message, Lindsay. And then as he speaks, protesters have projected. Watch this. This is amazing. So he's out there speaking. Okay, grow a spine, you jellyfish dick. Is that all you said? Okay. I think that's fairly mild, Lindsay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know what that was. I am dumbfounded that they did that. So anyway, as he's talking, they're putting a list up here on the wall, and here we'll watch this list here because this is pretty fascinating. He's talking now. Look, watch. Let's pan up here. Here's a list of demands. We'll pause this. Theodore, fancy seeing you. Maybe here, I guess that's what it's saying. These are our demands. Defund Portland Police Department by 50% at least and reinvest in the communities, especially the black community. Well, the black community of Portland? You mean all the black protesters out here? Where's Waldo? The second one here says free all protesters from jail. What if they broke the law? 3 feds out of Portland now. They've got a big old couple buildings there. And then you, Ted Wheeler, need to resign. Now, this is the same mayor that has been accommodating these assholes for years. For years. By the way, there are black people in Portland. In fact, when we were there, we kind of stayed in an area where there were quite a few black people in the grocery store and things like that. But it's just not like it's pretty few and far between. But there's definitely a black community in Portland, but it's not. They're certainly not at these protests. I mean, these protests are 98% white, just like the rest of the city. And then finally, there's a few more here. I have to pause to give a shout out to the sign language interpreter working to capture this moment behind the mayor. Check out the sign language interpreter trying to. In fact, I'll just leave it silent. You can kind of see her back there, right here, right behind Ted Wheeler. Anyway, and then Wheeler, who's also the police commissioner, says he takes responsibility for the action of police officers and wants to harness the anger of protest to work together to make change, whatever that means, Ted. Come on. All right, here we go.
The excuse or the opportunity to ignore what your responsibilities are here. I am standing in front of you as the mayor and as the police commissioner, and I am taking responsibility and accountability.
You're not doing anything, though.
The police force. And we actually are. We actually
You're not. They're yelling. You're not doing anything. Well, look, you assholes. What do you want them to do about what you're doing? You're not doing. You're not allowed to.
And by the way, I'd love to see a lot of this energy turn into working with us.
We're not doing this for you.
Make those additional changes. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about you. It's about you. It's about
And why don't you get tear gas? Why don't you go down to get tear gas?
Why don't you fuckers go stay home? All right, we'll pause this. Thank you for the first super chat of the day from King Slayer Damocles, my bud, the $2. Qualified immunity isn't the only thing that needs to go. So does absolute immunity for prosecutors. If these people really want change in police, they need change in the laws. Less laws, less reasons for officers to detain. You know what? I agree. You and I are going to agree on this. Now, the qualified immunity, I don't think it needs to go, because the qualified immunity is for civil suits against police officers. There are certain things that police officers do in the line of duty that they should. I think there are certain things they shouldn't be. They should have some certain immunities from. However, it is little too broadly applied sometimes. Okay, but changing the laws, less laws. Yeah, I think we definitely need less laws. I wish there was a year in every state legislature in the country and in the federal government. If I had my magic wand of what PDawg Knight says, this is something you need to do, you spend an entire year repealing stupid laws. There's a whole bunch of them out there. And there's a whole bunch of things that you can decide for. Repealing stupid laws and stupid regulations. I agree with you 100% on that, though. Thank you, King Slave Davis. New top super chat of the day. Thank you, sir, with $2. Finally, he moved to the Justice Center and to address the crowd. And here's a little bit of that. As soon as he begins to speak, though, he has no chance. Okay, what happened there? Why is stop it? Stop doing this.
I'm going to start by answering your question. The reason I'm here tonight is to stand with you no matter what. I stand with you no matter what.
And I would have guessed that the rest of the people in Portland saw that and said, what the fuck?
We are a community. And here's what I think about the federal government being in our city. They were not asked to be here.
You know what's hilarious? Here's what I think about the federal government being in our city. They were not asked to be here. Bitch, they'd been there the entire 55 days. And the federal government didn't respond until these assholes started fucking with the federal buildings that they're in charge of protecting. Now, for the other, some 40 whatever days, it was your police department that was dealing with all of these assholes. Your police department who immediately tore down their autonomous zone. Your police department that was using tear gas, rubber bullets, and all the other riot gear shit. And it was your police department that was failing at quelling the early riots. And so the idea that this just started when the federal government started jumping in, no, sir, not in the least. That is as far from the truth as humanly possible. Let's see what else the dickhead says here. By the way, FTG to Ted Wheeler.
They're not properly trained to be here, and we are asking them right this minute. We're demanding that they leave.
Not adequately trained for what? For riots? For destruction of property? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But if your people are properly trained for this, Ted, why is it still going on? If your people are properly trained for whatever this is, well, they're failing miserably.
Stop occupying our city.
Occupying our city? So, the federal agents that are there, they're occupying your city. Do you know how big Portland is compared to that 2 square blocks that the federal building and the courthouse are on, that they never go more than maybe 50 feet from when they're protecting that building? The only time they go is if someone assaults somebody and then they arrest somebody who's assaulted somebody. And you can, if you're assaulting someone on federal property, that's they can take you. Although they've been releasing most of them anyway. At least as far as I've seen, I mean, they've only really, the so-called snatching them off the street. There's only been 2 of those, and one of them went cooperatively. But anyway, but if they assault somebody on that federal property, and they arrest the person on that federal property, occupying the city, What about the rest of the city? The rest of downtown that these idiots are fucking up? That's your police. He's so full of shit.
And what they are doing here. Here's the message I...
It's funny too, because every night, if you watch these feeds, and there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to like 9 different feeds that all run every night, and they've been doing it for a while. And the live stream feeds are from protesters. If you watch those, they're documenting all the dumb shit that these people are doing. I don't know if they realize that's what they're doing, but they do. They document all the damage that these people are doing because they're running around trying to get a viral moment. And so when you see the video the other day of all those federal officers, and by the way, remember there's the 50-second video of the federal officers coming through the fog, the smog of tear gas, bull rushing, they called it, bull rushing the protesters. You know, that group wasn't just the federal agents. There were local Portland PD in that group too. In fact, it was mostly Portland PD. Oh gosh. So anyway, and then Ted's on his way out. And then it shows he's in the middle of the crowd. Okay, so let's just move on. Let's skip the videos now. But like I said, there was a foreshadowing. Remember the word of the day? The word of the day was foreshadowing. Well, in Portland, the mayor was tear gassed by federal officers, and he warns that somebody is going to die during chaotic protests. Here's the scene here. Apparently, because some of the protesters were starting to throw bottles and throwing, they were lighting things on fire and throwing it over the fence protecting the federal building. And so now the federal agents, every night they do something. As soon as they start setting fires or start breaking into the federal building, that's when the federal agents come out and say, okay, time to get away from us. It happens every single night, okay? So, this video is terrible. Mayor Ted Wheeler was tear gassed by federal officers along with a large crowd of protesters. Protesters? Oh, that didn't work. What the hell? Well, you're going to hear a bell anytime soon. Hi, Jonas Pedersen. Hi, JC Wolf. What's happening? Renovaccio, hello. Okay, I caught up. Mayor Ted Wheeler was tear gassed by federal officers with a large crowd of protesters late Wednesday night after he tried for hours to calm down angry activists demanding demanding police reform from City Hall and calling for federal authorities to withdraw from this mostly liberal, mostly white city. Now, this is the USA Today saying this. Even USA Today is playing Where's Waldo. Hey, where the black people at? Right? The mayor was caught in a chaotic display of violence and mayhem that began after around 11:15 p.m. Interesting. Now, I haven't heard a description like this from most of the media. They don't describe it as violence and mayhem. The mayor was caught in a chaotic display of violence and mayhem that began around 11:15 p.m. after some protesters threw flaming bags of garbage over a fence protecting the local federal courthouse, prompting the federal officers to fire tear gas at the crowd. Wheeler had spent many hours in the thick of the protests attempting to answer questions from the crowd, which booed and jeered as he tried to explain a lengthy process for making reforms. At one point, he acknowledged he is a white, privileged male. Yay! I'll even give him a horn for that one. He's a white, privileged male. Hi, Prospero. Obviously, we have a long way to go, Wheeler said. Everyone here has a job to do. All of us. Before the crowd was tear gas, Wheeler huddled with local leaders of the Black Lives Matter social justice movement, who are all white in Portland, who demanded he move more quickly to reform the police department. You know, good God. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. I want to, but I'm not going to say it. Some activists said they were worried the fight over federal agents was overshadowing their demands for reforms. Oh, you think? See, that's on purpose, though, because that's all Ted really wants to talk about. And he doesn't want to talk about his own police and his own responsibility to keep, a balance between its people's right to protest and keeping the other citizens' right to live their freaking lives. Doesn't want to talk about that too much. So he sidesteps it. He gaslights. He distracts by talking about Trump. And we have a new top super chat of the day. And that's one of my favorite dollar amounts, $26.69. Thank you, Gunfox61. FTG to all the commie heretics. Deport them all to China because
China is asshole.
Also, FTG Portland, you made your bed. Now go sleep in it, you bunch of soy boy bitches. Get the flamethrowers and purge the protesters with fire and watch the soy burn. Okay, well, I don't know that I would go that far, but I do appreciate the sentiment, and you know what? Some happy medium between that and just kicking them out of the downtown, whatever. But thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. New top super chat of the day. Thank you, Gunfox61. So some activists said they were worried the fight over federal agents was overshadowing their demand for local reforms on purpose of Ted Wheeler, and vowed to keep the pressure on Wheeler and Portland city officials. One white mother, I bet there's not any shortage of those in Portland, pointed out that Wheeler only showed up to the protest after other white mothers attending the demonstration over the weekend were tear gassed. Oh, I see what she did there. She was saying that because white mothers were tear gassed, he showed up then, kind of insinuating that the black people were tear gassed before that, right? There are no black people in these crowds. Are you kidding me? So the white mothers were tear gassed, but before it was just all the white protesters were tear gassed. This white mother, I see what she did there. You see what she did there? Do you see what she did? That's terrible. Anyway, okay. And then enough is enough. The crowd chanted, "Enough is enough." Thousands of protesters alternately booed and interrogated Wheeler after hundreds of mothers, dubbed the Wall of Moms, led a march downtown against police brutality. Now, they did this during the day. I don't think the moms are coming back for any more tear gas. They don't want no more of that shit. I'll tell you that. And you know what? Look, if the moms are standing there and then all the dickheads start throwing burning trash and rocks and bricks and, hammering on the federal building, do the federal agents give a shit who's there when they put out, they tell people to get the fuck out? I'm at a point where I don't care. I don't care. You don't even know what you're protesting. You think you know what are you protesting? Okay, let's defund the police by 50%. Okay. Let's just let people kill each other. How about why 50%? How about all of it? Just defund them completely. Good morning, Molly Mags. I see you popped in the chat too. So anyway, many protesters also carried signs demanding the withdrawal of federal agents dispatched last week by President Donald Trump over the objection of Wheeler and other federal officials. Now, dispatched by President Donald Trump. Really? No. Now, his Department of Homeland Security, the director there, dispatched people there to help reinforce the people that were already there trying to protect the buildings. But, did Donald Trump personally dispatch these people? No. But they want it to be. This whole thing is not about Black Lives Matter. This whole thing's about Donald Trump. And me, I'm not a Trump guy. I support our president because he's our president, and I damn sure not voting for Biden. But they want it to be just about Trump. And that's what this is about. These people aren't out here protesting they don't. If they get their 50% reduction in police, right, or police budgets, and people start shooting people, who are they going to call? They're not calling Ghostbusters. I guarantee you that. The first person they call when their neighbor gets shot or their sister gets shot or someone breaks into their house and steals all their shit, the first phone number they're going to reach for is 911. Just saying. Quote, "It's hard to breathe. It's a lot harder to breathe than I thought," Wheeler told the Washington Post after he was tear gassed. "This is abhorrent." Well, your own police department uses tear gas too to disperse the assholes. "This is abhorrent. This is beneath us." While Trump said he sent the federal, he said it. Okay, he didn't personally send them. The Homeland Security. Anyway, while Trump said he sent federal law enforcement officers in to restore order, acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolfen said federal agents were in Portland primarily to protect federal buildings like the Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse, which had become a target for the protesters. Contractors on Wednesday surrounded the building with a tall metal and concrete fence, and prosecutors warned that anyone who breached it would be arrested. In court files, federal officials say protesters had inflicted more than $50,000 of damage to federal buildings in Portland, including tearing down security cameras and shattering glass doors. Ty Carpenter, the board president of Don't Shoot Portland, that's what PDawg stands for, a Portland-based social justice nonprofit, said the vast majority of protesters were simply exercising their First Amendment rights. Wait, whoa. Now, the prior sentence, a vast majority of the protesters were simply exercising their First Amendment right. Okay, that's accurate. I'm sure that a vast majority of the protesters are just exercising the First Amendment right to protest, right? Until they start breaking shit and trying to burn shit down. But yes, I would guess that a majority are just exercising their First Amendment rights. She called the federal response disproportionate. A response doesn't have to be proportionate. That's what they don't understand. So let's see. If they set a bunch of garbage cans on fire and throw the garbage cans over the building, trying to light the building on fire, do the people deciding, do the federal agents just set their own garbage cans on fire and throw them over the fence into the crowd? That would be proportionate. It doesn't have to be proportionate. Get the fuck away from our building and stop trying to set it on fire. That would be proportionate. Now, disproportionate. Now, if they started firing live rounds, which the Ted Wheeler accused them of planning, then I would say that would be disproportionate. I don't think you need to kill them, but you can get rid of them. Get them out of here. Get out of there. Non-lethal methods. It's not a bunch of anarchists on the front line, said Carpenter 29. I wish I had some music for this. It's moms singing and dads with leaf blowers to disperse tear gas. It's not nearly as out of control as people think. I'm scared that the federal officers being here is going to result in somebody being murdered. You motherfucker. You
You're a lying dog face pony soldier.
Lying bitch. Lies, yeah. I have watched some of the live feeds from your own fellow protesters. I have watched the 5 feeds. Okay? Zip. You're lying. You're lying your ass off. All right. I don't do. And this person adds, President Trump needs to focus on coronavirus and get his troops out of the city. My biggest fear is that somebody's going to die. Yeah, I bet the first person will probably be something because of the protesters. The protesters are going to kill somebody. because they're the ones hitting people with hammers. They're the ones trying to break into the federal building. They're the ones trying to set buildings on fire with people inside. They're the ones who break into businesses and set the businesses on fire. The protesters are the ones who are going to kill somebody first. I can almost guarantee that. The mayor appeared to be attempting to walk a fine line of blasting the federal government while addressing a crowd that only days earlier, before federal officials swept into the city, had been organizing an opposition against his office. Yeah, they were going to go protest at his house. And the day, is it a coincidence that the day he caught wind of that, he started talking about the feds, and then they began attacking the federal buildings and not the city buildings? Is it a coincidence? Wait for it. Was that a dog whistle, Mayor Ted? Was it? I bet it was. That was a dog whistle, wasn't it, Bear Wheeler? You brought up the feds, and all of a sudden they're attacking the Fed building. Now the Fed people... Oh, Ted, you dirty bitch. I see what you did there. Okay, let's move on, because I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to get through in about 15 to 20 minutes. So we're gonna do a little bit of a lightning round now. Mayor lawyer, man, blah blah blah. You remember when Mayor Beetlejuice said the other day that she doesn't want any of Trump's troops in Chicago terrorizing her citizens? And then Trump said, hey, we're going to go send some federal help. He didn't say what kind of federal help. He said deployment of federal agents. And when he said that, I even tweeted, because I got in my head, is he going to send a squad like they're doing in Portland, to protect the buildings? And I kind of misunderstood what the president was talking about. And so now, this article. Thank you, Cynical Lindsay, for dropping this to my attention. Trump and Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot agree to deployment of federal agents. Hello, Cracker Rob. They agree. Lori Lightfoot agreed to that. Well, say what? Everyone, take a drink. President Donald Trump called Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot Wednesday evening to confirm his plans to send 200 federal agents to the city to combat a rampage of violence. In a statement obtained by the Chicago Sun-Times, the mayor's office said Trump reached out to the Mayor Lightfoot this evening to confirm that he plans to send federal resources to Chicago to supplement ongoing federal investigations pertaining to violent crime. The conversation was brief and straightforward, the statement said. Lightfoot, who previously vowed to turn away the feds, and Trump, who blasted extreme politicians he accused of joining an all-out police crusade, are in agreement over the strategy of sending agents to plug into the existing operations, the paper reported. Mayor Lightfoot maintains that all resources will be investigatory by nature and be coordinated through the U.S. Attorney's Office. The statement said the mayor has made clear that if there's any deviation from what has been announced, we will pursue all available legal options to protect Chicagoans. Well, looky here. Okay, so here's what it is. And it didn't click in my head. I thought he was sending, kind of like in Portland where they're protecting shit. No, this has nothing to do with the riot/protest. This has to do with the crime. So what the federal government is doing is supplementing Chicago investigators with more investigators, people who can help investigate some of the federal aspects of the crimes that are taking place in the Chicagoland area. And that's what I misunderstood. I'm like, well, why would I don't like the idea of you sending people into, troops or whatever, a bunch of, because look, we don't want a police state, but this is people going to help investigate. This is, again, supplementing again, well, they says put plugs in existing operations. Trump is deploying the officers to Chicago and also to Albuquerque, New Mexico, as part of a national operation, the National Operation Legend Anti-Violence Initiative, which is named for Legend Taliaferro, a 4-year-old shot dead in Kansas City. Early this month, federal officers were sent to Portland, Oregon to protect a federal courthouse from rioters in Kansas City to quell violence as part of Operation Legend. The effort in Chicago, however, will not resemble the heavily criticized presence in Portland, where camouflaged federal agents have patrolled the streets and made arrests in an attempt to protect federal buildings. So you're probably not, if you're in one of these cities where they're getting this help, you probably won't even be able to recognize who these federal agents are, except they might be wearing suits or whatever, but they're investigators. So I guess I was kind of skeptical when I heard about the Operation Legend, but I'm slightly less skeptical now because, again, even Mayor Lightfoot is cooperating with this, and she's the police union guy and the other politicians in Chicago are welcoming the help, and more importantly, I've seen interviews on the street of people from Chicago saying, "Yeah, we need more police. We don't need less police. We need more police out here because it is a shit show." All right, real quick, let me do a quick couple thank yous. Thank you to Chi-Town J, Cynical Lindsay, who tweeted out the show today. By the way, the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please share the stream. Twitter, mine's Gab and Parler. If you're on any of those platforms, please retweet, repost, republish, what's the other one called? Echo. And then also, if you like what we do, hit the like button sometime during the show, either now or before you leave. And then also, if you want to do donations or super chat, like Gunfox61 and Kingslayer Damocles, you can do that by the Streamlabs link in the description down below. You can go to PDawg.live, or you can just look in the chat. It's right there. This show is sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show. Click the link and help a brother out, because we're all responsible for reparations, and you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. Okay, so back to Portland. Well, we already got this. We've done enough. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler booed and heckled while addressing protesters. We already know that, so we'll skip that one. I'm done talking about Ted Wheeler. You know what? I was going to have an FTG for Lori Lightfoot, but I'm canceling it. I'm canceling today's. I'm not. There'll be plenty of opportunities to FTG to Lori Lightfoot, but I am commending Lori Lightfoot to understanding that the president is trying to help her. There's a couple things about this that are interesting. Because I was seeing these interviews, and I didn't bookmark any of them, but like I said, I was seeing some of these interviews from people on the streets of Chicago who were applauding this. They're like, yes, finally someone cares enough to put some help in our streets. You know who, you know who didn't do that? In fact, I think he wasn't from there, but he lived there for a long time. I think maybe. What's his name? He was the that guy. He was what was he? He was a big figure in American politics for a while. Oh, President Obama. Did Obama ever really do anything for Chicago, or at least even talk about Chicago? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall. Do any of you? I sure as hell don't. All right, moving on. Let's go to another wonderful American city. New York City. NYPD raids dismantle New York's Occupy City Hall overnight. Good. The New York Police Department dismantled Occupy City Hall, their own form of CHOP, early Wednesday after demonstrations over police brutality lasted about a month. Occupy City Hall began as a sit-in protest June 23rd as a way to put pressure on the city council to cut the NYPD budget. The sit-in continued to grow, and food clothing medical service. Oh, we have another super chat. I'll stop real quick and acknowledge Gunfox61. Thank you again. $10 super chat says, drink a beer for me. I'm at work for the next 6 days. Oh, good gosh. Check your email. Yeah, I saw your email. I'm going to actually, that's what I'm going to use for tomorrow's stuff. But yeah, drink some beers for me. I will, you know what? I will have a beer. I might even video me drinking a beer for you, Gunfox61. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Super chat link is in the description and the chat and wherever else you go. Thank you, sir. So it began on the June 23rd. The city continued to grow. And food, clothing, medical services, and makeshift tents were set up as the July 1st deadline loomed. The sit-in protests culminated on June 30th with thousands awaiting the city council's vote in the streets and inside the park. The council cut the NYPD budget by around $1 billion, but many protesters just weren't happy with that. And then the sit-in began to dwindle after that and attracted many homeless people whom remaining protesters began to care for, according to the New York Times. About 100 officers entered the zone before sunrise Wednesday to officially dismantle it. Yesenia Benitez said, according to the New York Times. This came after fights began to break out among protesters and passersby began to be harassed. So the police did their job and cleaned this bad boy out. Let's check this little quick video here. Yeah, looks like they got some hazmat crews. Lots of police clearing it out and said, get the fuck out. We're breaking this shit down. That's the first 10. Okay, so lots of police telling people to leave. Lots of stuff left over there. And then they got this one. Looks like they were tents, chairs, signs, all getting thrown into the something sanitation of New York trucks. So they just said, we're just throwing this shit out. All right. They said, fuck it. It's garbage now. All right. So they gave a 10-minute warning before the raid started, according to some radio stations, Steve Burns. Items from the park, such as tents and chairs, were put into New York City Sanitation Department trucks, according to the video footage. All right. So they said, fuck it. Get out. And we're throwing this shit away. Moving on, Department of Homeland Security is not the president's personal militia. Former Bush administration guy Tom Ridge says, really? And guess what, Tom Ridge? This would be a straw man. Anyway, on Tuesday, the first Secretary of Department of Homeland Security took issue with President Donald Trump's recent use of federal officers to quell riots in Portland, Oregon, and said he would resist unilateral action from the White House if he were still a governor. Well, hey, dumbass. They're not using federal officers to quell riots in Portland. Did you know that? Are you just making shit up? The Portland police are the ones who tried to quell the riots. The federal officers in Portland, they are protecting the 2 federal buildings there. Okay, they're not. Do you see these federal agents going out and quelling the riots? No, they don't respond until the dickheads start throwing shit and trying to break shit on the buildings. Okay, so maybe you're just listening to the media a little too much, who isn't really paying attention. I got an idea, Tom Ridge. How about you go on YouTube? I'll leave it, if you're watching, sir. I will send you the link to the live feeds of these protests, and you'll see who's really doing this shit, right? Federal agents protect the federal buildings. The Portland police quell the riots. 2 different things. You're an idiot. But you know what? I would say you're an idiot. And Tom Ridge is a pretty decent guy, but he's sadly misinformed. Anyway, I'm not even reading anymore. Fuck Tom Ridge. FTG to Tom Ridge. FTG Tom Ridge. There. All right, next. We're going to do rapid fire now because I know that my alarm is about to go off. White House says Democratic rhetoric unhelpful and gives violent protesters' violence a pass. Hell yeah, that's what they're doing. The Democrats are they're taking, like, let's take all these little 5-10 second videos of the things that, let me just be clear. the police and some of the federal agents aren't exempt from the shitty things they do, but the ones that they see, they'll take a 5-second video or a 20-second video out of context of what everything else that is happening before that 20 seconds, and you'll only see them arresting a rioter or, having to take 3 or 4 people to get a rioter off the street, right? But all the stuff before that, you only see the 20 seconds. So I think that's what the Democrats and even Tom Ridge are using. The rhetoric Democrats opposed to President Donald Trump sending federal agents into Portland to quell violent protests. Now, see, even this article writes it wrong. They're not there to quell the protests. They're there to protect the federal building. And that's really all they've done if you watch the nightly feeds. Anyway, is unhelpful. It appears to give violence a pass, the White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said on Tuesday. McEnany opened the White House press briefing by condemning the violence, chaos, and anarchy seen at protests in Portland, calling it unacceptable and adding that Democrats continue to put politics above peace while this president seeks to restore law and order. Let's just see how long this. We'll see how long this goes. Yeah, let's
By
see.
any objective standard, the violence, chaos, and anarchy in Portland
I
is
will
unacceptable.
supplement this.
Yet Democrats continue to put politics above peace while this president seeks to restore law and order. Governor Kate Brown, a Democrat governor of Oregon, said that the president should, quote, stop playing politics, called law enforcement officers secret police, and likened it to, quote, a dictatorship. The governor also called on the president to get his officers off the streets. Democrat Mayor of Portland, Todd Wheeler, said the president is trying to look strong for his base, while you had Democrats on the Hill, Nancy Pelosi calling these officers stormtroopers, and Jim Clyburn calling them the Gestapo. This rhetoric is unhelpful and gives the violence we have seen a pass. But President Trump will not give the violence a pass. He will restore order where the Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor are unwilling to admit that they have lost control of their city. The well-organized mob in Portland has become increasingly aggressive, especially against law enforcement officers. Individuals have thrown bricks, chunks of concrete, glass bottles, feces, balloons filled with paint, pig's feet, slingshots to hurl ball bearings, and batteries at federal agents and the courthouse. Multiple attempts to barricade officers in the Hatfield courthouse have occurred, attempts to start the structure on fire as well. Use of eyesight-damaging laser devices have been used, and strobe lights against federal agents as well. But according to Speaker Pelosi, when asked about the violent removal of statues, people will do what they do. The Trump administration urged state and local officials to work cooperatively to restore law and order. Operation Legend is a great example of this. At the governor's request, we went into Kansas City and surged the area with federal assets.
That was at the governor's request. Good.
ATF, and U.S. Marshals. This was named after Legend Taliaferro, a 4-year-old young boy who lost his life and was shot in his bed tragically. This has been a successful operation that has been waged in his name, including the arrest of wanted fugitives. Similarly, President Trump is taking action in Portland, even though you have a Democrat mayor and Democrat governor unwilling to work with us in this situation. We are surging resources, along with Secretary Wolf at DHS, and augmenting the Federal Protective Service to safeguard federal property. The bottom line is that this president stands with law and order, which leads to peace, and we will not allow Portland to become the new CHOP like what we saw in Seattle.
Or the new Detroit.
Is where in the Constitution
Oh, this is good.
does the president derive the authority to send federal law enforcement
Yes, John
officers
Carl.
to the streets of American cities against the will of the elected officials in those cities?
Yes, well, what you're referring to is Portland, and 40 U.S. Code 1315 gives DHS the ability to
He was
deputize
ready for that
officers
one.
in any department or agency, like ICE, Custom and Border Patrol, and Secret Service, quote, as officers and agents. They can be deputized for the duty of, in connection with the protection of property owned or occupied by the federal government and persons on that property. And when a federal courthouse is being lit on fire, commercial fireworks being shot at it, being shot at the officers, I think that falls pretty well within the limits of 40 U.S. Code 1315.
That's a matter of protecting federal property, like federal courthouses in the case of Portland. Does he see limitations to that power? And how how far does that power extend into the streets of the city of Portland? How, what are there limitations on that?
So under
that authority to protect a federal property?
Under the law, we believe that agents can conduct investigations of crimes committed against federal property or federal officers. And in the case where you have someone shooting off a commercial-grade firework and then running across the street, we don't believe that extends past our jurisdiction. Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
All right, well done, Kaylee McKennedy. I don't even have to read the rest of the article now. All right, she's always ready. Okay, and news you may not have been hearing about lately because no one's talking about it. Everyone's talking about Portland and, well, everyone talks about Trump all the time. But anyway, newly declassified documents suggest the FBI was wary by early 2017 of the Steele dossier. Senate Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham released documents as part of a review into the origins of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. We kind of already knew that. Oh, to answer your question, check your logic. Which video of Ranting Monkey was that from? Pretty much all of his videos. That's how he ends most of his videos with "Your life makes me sad."
Your life makes me sad.
That's his trademark line. So I stole it because it's very entertaining. Anyway, a Senate committee released newly classified documents that showed before I finish, I was meant to mention this. The Wall Street Journal has been a little bit on the Russia side of things for a long time, kind of, because they don't like Trump, okay? But it's interesting that they finally have to admit this piece of news. This news is, if you've been paying attention to the whole Russiagate, the investigators and all that, you probably know some of this, but it's finally getting into the mainstream, okay? That's a good thing. I think things are going to happen soon. A Senate committee released newly declassified documents that showed the Federal Bureau of Investigation was wary early in 2017 of the dossier compiled by ex-British spy Christopher Steele that helped stir the narrative, later debunked that the Trump campaign had close ties to Russian intelligence. The documents released Friday by the Senate Judiciary Committee included FBI notes from 3 days of interviews with a primary source of Steele, who cast doubt on some of the dossier's contents. FBI notes from the interview in early 2017 indicated that Mr. Steele's source had told him information about Mr. Trump's alleged sexual escapades was actually rumor and speculation that he was unable to confirm. Also reviewed were the notes of a former high-level FBI agent, Peter Strzok, who wrote that Mr. Steele himself may not be in a position to judge the reliability of his subsource work. Reacting to a New York Times report in February 2017 that said the Trump campaign and people around the candidate had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence officials, Mr. Strzok wrote in the margins of a printed copy of the article that we are unaware of any Trump advisors engaging in conversations with Russian intelligence officials. Eileen Murphy, spokesman for the New York Times, said Sunday, "We stand by our reporting." Now, that is fascinating. Because who was one of the lead investigators? Who was one of the lead FBI investigators into all of this Russian bullshit? Peter Strzok. And he wrote right in the margin of an article about this, "We are unaware of any Trump advisors engaging in conversations with Russian intelligence officials."
Wow.
I'm dumbfounded. Anyway, this whole article just talks about how all this stuff is just trickling out and it was all bullshit, blah, yada, 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 yada. I really hope someone goes to jail soon. All right, let's move on. Joe Biden. Oh, does anyone know what the music is? You know that it's a kind of a legendary TikTok video. The guy who does Carol Baskin or whatever, the Carol Baskin one, that. Does anyone know where the music from that's from? Just out of curiosity. because I have one. It'd be Joe Biden. With you, I'm not riding. 'Cause you always hiding. Your campaign like Poseidon. Joe Biden. But I want to put it to that music. You know, that I don't know what the song is, though. I want to find the music, and I'm going to do my own little, well, not a TikTok video because I don't put TikTok on my phone, but I'll put it on Twitter. I don't know, you know. Anyway, Joe Biden says he will take questions from reporters another time, nearly a month after his last press conferences. So he did a press conference on yesterday, and decided he did it. Oh, have a great day. Don't work too hard, Gun Fox. Well, work as hard as you need to be a successful human being, but you know what I mean. Joe Biden continued to limit his exposure to reporters on Tuesday when he finished a speech and said he would take questions at another time. Here's the clip.
Thank you for listening. I look forward to having your questions at another time, but I'm off to another event. Thank you, Principal. Thank you for having us here. Appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
This is not the vigorous Joe Biden that I'm used to seeing. Now they're yelling questions at him, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving." So anyway, he's not taking any questions. Thank you for. Okay, we got that. On July 14th, journalists tried and failed to get the presumptive Democratic nominee to answer questions. This was from back then. Vice President, time for a few questions. A reporter yelled at Biden, including his remarks. A few days earlier, Biden rebuffed journalists assembled outside his childhood home in Scranton, Pennsylvania, as Biden stood on the sidewalk. He makes a stop here, and they didn't answer questions there anyway. So, Joe Biden, with you, I'm not riding. Why you always hiding? Your campaign like Poseidon. Joe Biden. I'm going to copyright that. Anyway, all right, moving on. Joe Biden also calls Trump the first racist to get elected president. I'm sure you all saw this yesterday. Former Vice President Joe Biden said in a virtual town hall meeting today with the Service Employees International Union that America has had racists who tried to get elected president in the past, but Donald Trump is the first one that has. Wow.
Wow.
Holy moly. Holy moly. Holy moly. So plenty of people have been kind of correcting him on that. And I, to call Trump racist, I'm sorry. Racist against who? Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, Hispanics and illegal immigrants. No, he didn't like illegal immigrants, but then he goes and tries to help Hispanic businesses. So I'm trying to figure out which parts of that is racist. And then, what has he said anything bad about black people during his presidency? I mean, he bends over backwards. The first thing he did, in fact, when he became president of the United States was brought in all the presidents of the HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, and gave them money. And he made it permanent, and rather than having come back every year, he made that permanent and did the First Step Act and all this other stuff. I'm trying to figure out exactly, other than the myth and legend of him being a racist, how he's been racist. I mean, in the 80s, every black rapper and everyone was asking for money, and he was giving money to the NAACP and got awards. And, I know some people talk about some housing discrimination thing way back in the 70s that he was accused of housing discrimination, right? But that case never went forward. Okay? So that is one of those accused. But anyway, the idea, here it is. And what President Trump has done in his spreading of racism. How? In the immortal words of Elizabeth Warren, how? That joke's going to get me in trouble one of these days. The way he deals with people based on the color of their skin. Really? Give me an example. Joe Biden, give me an example of the way he deals with people based on the color of their skin, their national origin, where they're from, is absolutely sickening. Please give me an example that he treats people based on the color of their skin. You got to give me an example. Yes, examples, please. Hello, Maniac Man. What's up? He said apparently the town hall is available on Facebook. No sitting president has ever done this. Never done what, Joe? No sitting president has ever done this. Never, said Biden. No Republican president has done this. No Democratic president. What are you talking about? We've had racists and they existed and they tried to get elected president, said Biden. He's the first one that has. What are you talking about, Joe? What are you talking about? We have no idea. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about. And by the way, he pits people against one another. It's all designed to divide the country. Really? Do you think CNN divides the country? Do you think the Democratic Party tries to divide the country? In fact, the Democratic Party tries to divide up everybody by race. Constantly. That's all they do. They target everybody by their race. And not by their ideas. Literally. Hello, Post Ghost. So anyway, yeah. But by the way, was Woodrow Wilson racist? How about LBJ? Was he racist? How about Franklin Roosevelt, the guy who put the Japanese in internment camps? Was he racist? Was that racist? That's a tough one. Joe. I don't know what you're going with there. Also, now this is interesting. I'm looking at Tyler O'Neill write this, and I'm curious. I'm more curious than anything, and it very well may be true. And in fact, I bet there might be some people in Chicago who might appreciate Trump a little more if these federal agents help solve some crimes. But watch out, Biden. Black voters are moving toward Donald Trump. Are we? I mean, that'd be great if it was true. Might a shift among the black vote in November put President Donald Trump over the top in the race against Joe Biden? While most black voters favor Biden by a wide margin, they do not support the presumptive Democratic nominee to the same degree that they supported Hillary Clinton just before the 2016 election, according to a new CNN polling analysis. CNN's Harry Enton examined over 10 national live interview polls that shined a light on black voter sentiment since the beginning of the George Floyd protests. These polls represent more than 1,000 interviews with black voters. Among those voters, Biden leads 83% to 8%, a 75% point margin. While that means the Democrat still enjoys a sizable lead over Trump for these voters, this margin is much smaller than Hillary's 79-point margin over Trump in polls taken just before the 2016 election. Both Clinton then and Biden now enjoy 83% support among black voters, but Trump has picked up some of the votes that went to third-party candidates in 2016. That shift may translate into about 0.5% of the vote nationwide, which does not seem significant, but in a close race, it could make the difference. Most polls have Biden far ahead of Trump, but a Rasmussen poll released Wednesday found the two candidates essentially neck and neck, with Biden at 47% and Trump at 45%. The race is likely to tighten as November approaches. Also, you know what? Here's a thought. When you interview black people, do you think perhaps black people be very, very wary of saying anything good about Trump for fear that someone might find out they said it? In fact, I would not even just black voters, voters in general. Because, you know, people putting them out there, putting themselves out there, it could be a little hairy or dangerous or whatever. Because, you know, you see what they're doing in Portland, or you see what happens to that guy, the teacher in I don't remember what state it was. There was a teacher who was fired because he tweeted, Donald Trump is your president. The teacher, literally, they fired him for it. And he said, something, I'm not going to hold it back anymore. Donald Trump is your president. That was the tweet. The school board brought him in. We read this one the other day. The school board brought him in, and they brought him in and said, you need to apologize for that. And it's like, for what? And then they, before he left, they gave him a choice of resigning or being fired. Holy shit. So would you think that when you hear stories like that, maybe, just maybe, some people might be a little bit reluctant to talk about any form of support for this president? Even in the end, they go, yeah, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Yeah, I can get in trouble for singing that because, the lefties, I know what the song's about, but it's still a catchy tune, right? Killing in the name of... Killing in the name of... Dealing in the name of... They do what they told you. But 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 you do what they told you. But they do what they told you. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Okay, I'm done. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what really happens. All right, moving on real quick. NBA is going to shutter their Chinese training center. The league operated a center in the same city as the Chinese Muslim concentration camps where they're taking the Uyghurs or whatever they're called. The NBA announced Tuesday that it had terminated its relationship with a league-run training academy in Xinjiang, China, the region in which the communist nation is reportedly holding roughly 1 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps. That's all I need to read about that story. Now, is the NBA going to allow free Hong Kong on the back of their jerseys with all those other messages? You know that if you order a jersey, you can order custom jerseys on the NBA.com store, right? And someone was doing this experiment, and they tried to order a jersey with free Hong Kong in the back, and it was rejected. And so the guy called the hotline to try to fix it, and he's calling him. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm trying to order this jersey, and I want to put a custom message on the back, put a custom name." And so the lady on the phone's, "Okay, well, tell us what it is." "Okay, I want the number 1, and then I want the words FREE, no space, HONGKONG. She says, "Okay, you want a number 1 in free Hong Kong? Okay, I'm going to try to do it. Nope, it won't let me do it." She tried again. Nope, it won't let me do it. Don't really do it. He's like, "Oh, well, shoot. I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with your system. Well, let's try this. I'm going to keep the number 1, but we're going to put the name on the back of the jersey is going to be KILL, no space, COPS. Okay, that worked. Oh, so I can't put free Hong Kong on the back of an NBA jersey, custom jersey, but I can put Kill Police. Ooh, that's not cool." Anyway, so at least there's progress. They're going to shutter the Chinese training center where the right near the Muslim concentration camps. Good for them. All right, last couple articles. Trump, Ben Carson. Trump, Ben Carson are tearing down an Obama-era housing rule, accused of funneling money into wealthy areas. You know what? I'm not going to read this one, but there's some program that where it was some kind of a grant program, and it was being used to it was being used in ways that probably shouldn't have been used, and so they're shutting down the program. And Yeah, at the request of many great Americans who live in the suburbs and others, I'm studying the AFFH housing regulation that is having a devastating impact on these once thriving suburban areas. Corrupt Joe Biden wants to make it worse. I don't know what that means. Anyway, you can read this one on your own because I realize I'm running out of time here. All right, there's that. All right, and let's see. What was the other ones? Oh, I'll just read the beginning of this. So Joe Biden has rolled out a policy plan with a $10 trillion price tag. Presumptive 2020 presidential nominee Joe Biden is gradually rolling out his spending plan designed to address a number of ills identified by a joint committee of Biden and Senate Bernie Sanders. And according to reports, the full proposal expected to top $10 trillion. Now, I don't know how many years. Let's see here. Fox News reports Biden plans on doubling federal spending to take on what his campaign considers to be major issues like climate change and education reform. And his blueprint for an improved America has already passed $8.909 trillion in new spending, with more on the way, offset by tax increases. Oh, so tax and spend. That used to be a theme in the 80s. They'd say, oh, these tax and spend Democrats. Wow, $2 trillion for climate, $1.3 trillion for infrastructure, $750 billion for healthcare, $750 billion for higher education. I wish, and this is almost sacrilege, but could they just, instead of having the federal government spend money on education, how about reduce everyone's taxes by that dollar amount and let local school districts take care of that, and local states and local districts? I think that would be a much better idea, and allow different states to innovate with charter schools, different kinds of private schools. Please get the federal government out of education. $700 billion for Biden's Buy America plan, $640 billion for housing. Why is the government in housing? I suppose for low income housing, I don't know. And $1.25 billion for Biden's opioid plan, $30 billion for criminal justice reform. What do you need $30 billion for criminal justice reform? Oh, maybe you're trying to help people not go to jail. I don't know. All right. And then last but not least, James Clyburn, the congressman from South Carolina, said something interesting. And I found this fascinating. I was actually a little bit surprised by it. House Majority Whip James Clyburn, Democrat of South Carolina, said Wednesday he doesn't want to see statues torn down and that nobody is talking about destroying statues. Well, actually, a lot of people are talking about destroying statues. But anyway, instead he said statues honoring Confederate soldiers and the like should be placed in a museum. Wow. Clyburn spoke at a press conference of House Democrats calling for the removal of statues of people who supported slavery from the U.S. Capitol building. Well, okay. And he's claiming that no one's talking about destroying statues. Well, yeah, the people who are destroying statues are certainly talking about it. And that brings me to this last article. A list of 183 monuments ruined. I'm going to do a video about this probably in the next day or so, but a list of 183 monuments ruined since the protests began and counting. Most monuments torn down were not by protesters, but city officials after pressure or threats from protesters. 33 statues of Columbus, 9 of the Founding Fathers, 8 St. Junipero Serra. With the frequency of the ongoing iconoclasm, it can be hard to gain a scale of the problem. For each story that has breached the news cycle, at least a dozen went unreported outside the local media. This detailed list records each instance, I'm going to put this in the chat, by the way, each instance that a monument has been torn down. Some key takeaways. At least 183 monuments, memorials, statues, and major historical markers have been defaced or pulled down since the protests began in May. While Confederate monuments have taken the lion's share of media's coverage, they actually form a minority of the statues targeted. By far the most popular target was Christopher Columbus, with 33 statues in total having been defaced and pulled down. The next most popular targets, Robert E. Lee, 9, Sarah, 8, and Sarah's the mission in the missionary in California, who a missionary that was trying to help people. Anyway, and Thomas Jefferson with 4. The vast majority of the vandals were never charged, with the 177 out of 183 instances having no arrest. Most monuments torn down were not by protesters, but by city officials after pressure or threats from protesters. By far the most common route for monuments being destroyed was for protesters to damage it, then the city quickly removing it as a public safety hazard not to be returned. For a majority of the statues removed, the fate of the artwork is currently unknown, while a minority have been moved to cemeteries and museums. The list begins with the most recent instance of iconoclasm and continues backwards in time until the first instance connected with nationwide rioting. I'll just do a couple. This is Monument to Marcus Daly in Butte, Montana. The monument to the 19th century Irish immigrant and successful businessman. It was defaced with vandalism reading, "Old white man, tear it down, Black Lives Matter." It was restored by locals with materials donated by local businesses. Cemetery monument to Confederate soldiers in Savannah, Georgia. I'm not surprised with those so much, so I'm going to skip that one. But here, a memorial to fallen Kansas City police officers in Kansas City, Missouri. A memorial to 119 KCPD officers who have been killed in the line of duty, defaced by a crowd of 150 protesters surrounding the local police headquarters, which was also vandalized, marked with graffiti, including message of abolish the police and no room for fascists. The mayor promised to restore it, and several arrests were made. Also, a monument to Christopher Columbus in Chicago. That was the big news the other day, July 17th. A statue of Jesus Christ in Miami, Florida. They're even killing Jesus. Here's the list in the chat. At a Catholic church, it was pulled down and beheaded by unknown criminals. The diocese is asking for the attack to be investigated as a hate crime, one of a surge of attacks on Catholic churches and icons across the country. Also, the statue of Robert E. Lee at Antietam, Maryland. 17-year-old statue. Wow. They're actually going to restore it. There were several statues there. Union Veterans Monument in Saratoga, New York. So a monument to Union soldiers. Alexander Andreevich Baranov statue in Sitka, Arkansas. The 31-year-old statue of the Russian merchant who led the Russian settlements in what is today Alaska involved several wars against the they had to fight. They were fighting with some the indigenous people up there. I'm sorry, the people who immigrated there first. There's no indigenous people. They came from Russia too, which massacred several Russian settlements. Despite public support for the previously vandalized statue, the city government ordered it removed after pressure from protesters. Statue of the Blessed Mother. Oh my God, they killed the Virgin Mary. Statue of the Virgin Mary in a Catholic church torn down and beheaded by unknown vandals, part of a series of attacks on religious icons and churches across the country. All right. We need to see Sean King's travel itinerary for the last month because I want to know if he has anything to do with that. Confederate statue in Oxford, Mississippi. Numerous religious statues in Punta Gorda, Florida. Statue of Ronald Reagan in Dixon, Illinois. Statue of the nation's 40th president placed on the banks of the Rock River where he served as a lifeguard. He had been credited with saving upwards of 70 lives while on duty. Defaced with protester graffiti by night. Statue of Hiawatha in La Crosse, Wisconsin. What are they doing? Because she's a traitor? Oh my God. 60-year-old statue of Native American legendary leader requested to be removed by city government because it became a tourist attraction and as a way to face the symbols of our past. Oh my God, you people. And when I say you people, I mean you people. All of yous. All right, enough of this crap. I'll like I said, I'm going to try to do a video about this. All right, real quick, see if there's any breaking news, and then we're going to get the hell out of Dodge. And I'm going to use, I will use Twitter to check breaking news. On the Explore tab, nope, just some ready to play, promoted by Gatorade, don't care. Taylor Swift announces a surprise studio album. All right, good for her. Tom Ridge, we talked about him already. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, tear gassed by federal officers. We already talked about that. There's a trending tag. I'm voting for Biden because Telfar. Okay, no. This story. I don't know if you heard about this. Republican Representative Ted Yoho accosted Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with crude language. I think he called her a bitch or something like that, or a dumbass. What did he call her? The Hill reports Florida lawmaker Ted Yoho used crude and personal language to challenge New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez regarding her position on crime and policing outside of a U.S. Capitol on Monday. The Hill reports, according to reporter Mike Lillis, Yoho called Ocasio-Cortez disgusting and referred to her using other crude language. Representative Ted Yoho's office provided a statement to the Daily Caller saying he did not call Cortez any name. Well, they said that they called, they said they called her a fucking bitch, but did he or did he not? Who knows? I don't know if it's on. Yoho, you're out of your freaking mind. AC told Yoho he's being rude. Then party ways, Yoho said, fucking bitch. Well, someone said that someone called Kayla McEnany fucking bitch the other day, and it turned out to be that that if you listen to it and they say what he said and then you listen to it again, it's like, oh no, it just sounded like it, but he said something completely different. Who knows? But whatever. Who cares? Sticks and stones. Anything else here? Impressed? Direction? And then they were talking about the Portland Wall of Moms. Any other news here? We'll check real quick. Any breaking news? Portland Wall of Moms, UK's response to COVID-19 has been world class. What? They have almost... Oh my God. Bloomberg Opinion has the nerve to put this on here. The UK's response to COVID-19 has been world class. Don't tell that to anyone who lives in the UK. Our one country has done more than any other to stop the spread of coronavirus. You know that now. I'm not knocking it because it's a virus. It's to be able to stop it, but I think the UK has the second highest. Let me check this out. Here's the coronavirus update from the Worldometer. We'll put full screen on this. All right, so. You know, it's funny because they love to talk about how the United States has the most cases. And yes, we do have the most cases. We are fairly aware of that. We also done... Why is this not... What's going on here? Is this still loading? What the hell? Oh, it is still loading. Hang on a second. Hi, Amy in Connecticut. Oh, Lord Rothschild, I did say hello. I do see you there, though. I'm glad you're here. All right, so here is... Where the fuck is the, where's the chart? What the hell's going on here? Oh, this thing is still loading. Holy shit, what the hell is going on here? Oh, okay. So here's the thing. We're still, of the, like, major European countries, our death rate is lower than most of them. Belgium, the UK, France, Spain, Italy, and Sweden all have higher death rates than the United States. We have a lot more people, but our death rates not nearly as high. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe their site's being inundated or something, because normally the chart just pops right up. So I don't know why. And the UK now has jumped up as far as death rate. They're like number 2 of large countries. There's that San Marino place that has the highest death rate, but it's really just a city state. So I don't know exactly where this UK's response to COVID-19 has been world class. That is so weird. When the discussion turns out to which countries have responded best to COVID-19, those most often mentioned are Taiwan, New Zealand, and Vietnam. Yeah. All islands, sort of. Well, Vietnam's not, but may as well be. Tyler Cowan would like to make a more surprising nomination, the UK. Are you kidding me? At first glance, the UK's performance doesn't look great. Britain has the highest death rate per million. An initial contradictory government response, a prime minister contracted COVID-19, poor mask wearing habits. So what exactly are they praising here? That'd be like saying Belgium's response was great too. Is it like how they praised the state of New York? No need to flatten the curve. Let's just kill anybody right away, and then it'll be over, right? But the more important factor in the global response to COVID-19 on the biomedical front. Oh, so they have they've been doing a lot of research. Okay, first, the UK played a pivotal role in the testing of a cheap steroid known as dexamethasone, the first drug to reduce the death in COVID-19 patients, and trials proving its effect came from the UK. Oh, really? Is that because they were too busy politicizing hydroxychloroquine? Which was also used during the SARS epidemic in 2006 to help people survive the SARS back then. Oh my God. I'll have to, I don't have time to read the article, but it's cracking me up, people. It's cracking me up. All right. Anything else here? We got yo-ho, and a bottle of rum. There's another thing. Hunting Beach residents in California are rejecting mask rules. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. China successfully launches its first Mars probe. Here's the thing. Because they launched their first Mars probe, doesn't mean it's going to make it. But here we go. China launched its first Mars landing mission, Tianwen-1, the heaviest payload ever to be sent to Mars, on Long March 5 carrier rocket from Wenchang spacecraft launch site in Hainan province on Thursday. The mission is to attempt to place an orbiter around the red planet and a robotic rover on the Martian surface. The journey will take 6 to 7 months, and the probe is expected to reach Mars around February 2021. So it's interesting. Be kind of cool just to see what they come up with that we haven't already done. So there you go. Good for China.
China is asshole.
California surpasses New York to become the state with the most COVID-19 cases. Wait a minute. What happened to Texas and Arizona and Florida and Georgia and all these states? They hate California surpasses New York to become the state with the most COVID-19 cases? Really? Because they haven't talked a whole lot about California. Yukon community. Stanley Robinson died. Oh my gosh. Stanley Sticks Robinson, who was an integral part of the Huskies from 2006 to 2010, found dead in his home by his mother, according to a former head coach, Jim Calhoun. He was 32 years old. Yukon. Oh, that's sad. He was a good player. Okay. All right. Any other breaking news? I'm going to let me swing down here and see if there's anything else I want to. We already talked about. Remember that agreement we talked about the other day where the government's going to pay Pfizer and BioNTech $1.95 billion for 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine? That was actually 600 million doses, not 100 million, but they haven't changed it on Twitter. So anyway, that's it. That's kind of the breaking news for today. There's a couple stories there that you'll probably hear about from other people later in the day. Hello, Scribe Light, Dog Flapple. And Scribe, yes, Friday works for me, by the way, if you're still listening. And that's it for today, folks. It's time for me to go. Thank you so much for being here on the Morning Night Live. As you can tell, my final segment is no longer necessarily going to be Twitter trends. If you didn't catch that at the beginning, we're going to do just breaking news that we find on Twitter. Oh, hi, Katie did skate, too. I didn't see you pop in. And Amy in Connecticut. And, okay, Brenna Vascia, you've been here for a while. I don't know if I said hi yet. But anyway, and Check Your Logic. I just realized I didn't say hi to Check Your Logic, even though I answered your question. Anyway, I got to go. That's it. Really. The Morning Night Live's here, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT for my friends around the world. Please, before you go, hit that like button on the way out. And if you want to do donations or do super chats during the show, you can do that. Those will always be in the chat. It's in the description down below. Or you can just go to PDawgnight.live, where you can also get my merch. There's a little link to the merch thing. My first merch out there, the 2020 FFS collection, is on the PDawgnight.live site. All right, I gotta go. Thanks, everybody. I'm PDawg Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawg Night, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Night, and I'm out of here.